Hey, you just turned into the Spirit Ninjas Spiritual as F podcast, the show that aims to inspire, uplift, and questions everything. And now your hosts, Bart Rigel and Holly Emerson.
So welcome, guys. We're so excited that you're here watching. If anyone's going to watch, who knows? We'll see.
This is our first podcast.
This is it.
Number one, ground zero.
That's right.
Spirit Ninja podcast.
Spirit Ninjas podcast.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Yes.
I've wanted to do this for how long now?
A very long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a very long time. And for whatever reason, this or that, it didn't work out quite then. You know, we needed to get a little bit more equipment. Then there was some parts that were back ordered. And then
we were just busy doing other stuff too.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, we run meditation challenges and help people manifest the life of their dreams. And so we've been busy getting that going, building the tribe.
Yeah,
and this was a component of it. And so now we're just getting to it now.
Yeah, it's exciting. So I'm super stoked because I wanted to talk about this for such a long time. And it's just like I want to talk about spirituality because as much as, you know, it's great that Holly and I have each other, like we can actually talk about this stuff, but a lot of people don't. And for so long, I never had anyone to really talk to about it.
Yeah, we were like in the closet spiritual junkies.
Yeah, totally. It was no bueno. But now we're here and we want to build this community. We want to build the Spirit Ninja tribe. So that's what we've been doing.
Exactly.
And have these more in-depth kind of conversations. But, you know, something that I don't want is I don't want it to be stuffy and old.
Yes, stuffy, serious, boring.
No, exactly.
No.
Because, you know, like there's so many like spiritual people that are just...
You know what their thing is with spirituality is there can be a lot of rules. You know, like to be spiritual, you have to be a certain way and you can't be another way, which I think is a bunch of bullshit. And so that's why this is the Spiritual as Fuck podcast.
That's right.
We're going to have wine.
That's right.
Because you can have wine and be spiritual.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, you can ask the deeper questions and you don't have to be super serious about it.
No, it's a journey and it's about having fun. Spirituality can be fun too, so we really want this podcast to be fun and enjoyable. And we're just basically going to chat, and you guys can be flies on the wall and listen to us talk.
That's right. Yeah, and watch us drink wine. If you're on YouTube or Facebook video or anything else.
Otherwise, you'll just have to listen to it.
That's right.
So rule number 1, though, is you're always supposed to, like, cut from the bottom. You know why you do that? Because it prevents the dripping.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've been doing it wrong for my entire life.
I think I tell you that every time you open a bottle of wine, too.
I'm a slow learner. What can I say?
It's okay. It's not really that important. I feel like that's really close to my face.
Yeah. Careful. So I guess we should probably introduce ourselves a little bit, hey?
Yeah.
So, Halls, do your thing.
All right.
Who are you?
My name is Holly Emerson, and I am from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And most recently, the last, 8 years? I think it's 8 years. I lived in Vancouver. Love Vancouver. I miss Vancouver because now we live in Palma de Mallorca in Spain. But what's my story? I'm adopted. I was adopted when I was a couple months old. Thanks, sweetheart. And, you know, I struggled a lot with trying to fit in, trying to be accepted, feeling lovable, feeling loved. You know, for the longest time, I didn't actually think my parents loved me. They did the best that they could, but it was just, you know, certain needs that they weren't able to meet. And so I kind of had all those childhood issues of, you know, being abandoned because I was adopted. And I didn't actually know that I had abandonment issues until my 30s. So we can talk about that later. What else? Grew up, I figure skated. I figure skated for like 17 years, which kind of made me be like sheltered because after school I'd always just go figure skating and, you know, I wouldn't really have much of a life. And so after I graduated high school, I went a little crazy because I didn't skate anymore. And then got into, I was like super obsessed with like making money. So that's why I got into real estate and mortgages, because I wanted to make money, and I would take like self-improvement classes and retreats. I went to T. Harv Ekers. When T. Harv Eker like first kind of started, he had this company called Peak Potentials, and I did his like warrior training boot camp in Wizard, and it was all about manifesting. So that was when I was 19 years old. I started doing that kind of stuff, and I thought, oh, I have this manifestation stuff nailed. And people would say, oh my gosh, you're so young, and what I would have given to have this knowledge that you have now, when I was your age, because my life would be totally different, and your life is going to be amazing because you know all these tools now to manifest the life of your dreams. Well, I actually didn't.
Yeah, isn't that the way it goes?
Yeah, I did not. I intellectually did. I could understand these concepts. I read like Wayne Dyer, I read Deepak Chopra all through my 20s. I went to other various retreats and life mission type classes and courses. And oh my God, I also went through like so many therapists and psychologists and counselors. Like I was always constantly working on myself, but I wasn't actually really getting anywhere. But I was, because you have to go through those things to learn. Am I rambling?
No, just keep going.
Okay. But yeah, like I said, I didn't actually have it all figured out. And it wasn't until I became like really miserable because I was dating a guy who just didn't love me the way I wanted him to love me. And the relationship wasn't the relationship I wanted, but I was like so hell-bent on trying to get this relationship to be what I wanted it to be. It wasn't until then that I really started to go inward and do my own inner healing and take actual actions towards manifesting the life of my dreams and healing, not just cognitively knowing and understanding these theories. And so once I started actually taking action, once I started, daily meditation practices and spiritual practices and implementing actual real change and action in my life, then my life really started to change. And I should also mention I was in like $35,000 in debt. I was in my early 30s, and that's when I was in this toxic relationship. I was in a career that was a good career, but it just didn't feed my soul. And so, even though I learned all these concepts when I was 19, 20 years old, they didn't, what's the right word? Like I didn't actually embody it until my 30s, until I started taking action behind everything that I had learned. And so I was able to manifest abundance to pay off my debt, like magically. That was pretty crazy. I'll tell you guys that story one day. And was able to get out of the toxic relationship, and then Bart and I met, and then I managed to also like double my salary
Yeah.
within a few months, which was amazing. And then we just had all this abundance, and we were able to leave our 9-to-5 jobs, and now we are in Spain bringing all this to you. We created Spirit Ninjas because it's a passion project, and that's what's feeding our soul right now. That's what we left Canada and our careers for, is because as much as I loved my career, oops, I hit the microphone. As much as I loved my career, it just wasn't feeding my soul, and I needed to do that. I needed to share what I've learned and these tools to manifest with the world, so people can live the life of their dreams and be joyful and happy and have more love and peace and just, yeah. So I kind of rambled on. So was that okay? Was that really long?
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. So how about you, Bart?
Yeah.
Now that the podcast is over, because I've talked for the entire time.
No, for me, it was a very similar story. It's interesting when you say that, when you were 19, 20, you were into like T. Harv Eker and like this idea of like, you have to make money and.
Yeah, that's how they sold it.
Yeah, totally. And it's funny because at that time I remember I started getting into like Tony Robbins. Like that was my jam.
Yeah, they were like all the same crew.
Yeah, so I listened to like a lot of his programs, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make a bunch of money, and I had this idea of like how life was supposed to flow and be, and it was like a similar story. Everything that I kept trying I became self-employed, didn't quite work. I tried like another job, didn't quite work. I went back self-employed, didn't quite work. Like there was so many like little pieces and so many like issues along the way that like everything that I tried, it seemed like I was like walking through the mud. It felt like I just kept getting like dragged down. And I mean, I struggled with a lot of like anxiety growing up. Like that wasn't really annoying. I struggled with relationships like for pretty much like my entire life until I met you. There was just, I finally reached a point where I was just so done. I was just so tired. I was so tired because like no matter what I tried, everything just sucked. And I remember like the one day when I finally gave up, I'm like, screw it. I'm done. I'm done caring. I'm done struggling. I'm done, trying to grab life by the horns and make it happen. And that was pretty much the end of it. After that, everything just became easy. Yeah. And it was really then that I like started embodying all these things that I've been learning and reading for so many years, but I didn't get it. I didn't get it for such a long time. And then finally, I realized, you know what? We don't have to struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think part of it for me in my 20s, why I wasn't manifesting the life that I truly wanted, was I didn't have quite the right intention. Like I wasn't totally in alignment with my heart at the end of the day. Like when I think back to who I was when I was 19 and, in my early 20s, like I wanted to make money because my idea of the life I wanted to manifest was like me being super rich and just like lazing around and doing nothing.
Totally.
But just not having to worry about money because I had lots of money. That was my idea of my dream life, right?
Yeah.
But as I've grown up and as I've worked on myself, I've realized that my dream life actually is about filling my soul. So in a way that also is in service to other people and to the world. And I truly want to connect with millions of people and uplift millions of people so they can all live their soul's life purpose. I think there's a difference between like my Holly life purpose and my soul life purpose. There's like my brain, which is separate from my soul, and my brain wants certain things, but my soul wants something else and needs something else. And so once I learned what it is that my soul needs and how to feed that soul, then my life unfolded in a very different way. I think intention has everything to do with it.
Oh, I totally agree.
And alignment to your highest self.
Exactly. Look at the root of what it is that you're wanting and needing in your life. What's
why?
The reason behind it?
What's the why?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, for me, I wanted the same things. Like I wanted like a big house. I wanted a big fast car. All these things. But it was for like selfish ego reasons. I'm actually, in retrospect, I'm pretty glad that it didn't happen back then because like I kind of would have been a douchebag. I would have been.
Yeah, and you still ultimately wouldn't have been happy.
No, of course not. Of course not. I mean, I wasn't happy, pursuing it because it was just like such a grind every day, like such a struggle. And then I know that if I got that, if I had the big car and all these things, like that, none of that would have given me happiness.
No, because I mean, happiness is a state of the mind. At the end of the day, you want joy, and joy is a state of the soul. Joy is so different. Joy, like if you just take a moment and close your eyes and like imagine happiness, like there's like this superficial kind of like surface, maybe surface kind of, it's like a surface emotion. But if you close your eyes and you feel joy, or imagine what joy is, you feel it, like I feel it more in my heart, in my soul. It's totally different.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's like, you can picture it like, for instance, you buy something fun, something that you've wanted for a really long time. And then there's that like sense of excitement. It's like, oh, I really like this thing that I'm playing with, right? So there's like that kind of like happiness. It is a lot more on the surface, but when you look at joy and like really drop into that feeling, it's like way deeper, right? Yeah. It's like it's a totally different feeling.
Joy is like a state that always exists because it's like joy and love are the true state of your soul. So you can be, like I know I've been really sad or grieving or, some other quote unquote like negative, more down emotion, but still I felt joy inside. Like for me, I'm at a point in my life right now where joy just always exists within me.
Yeah,
like I'm
absolutely.
always just joyful. Whereas happiness can be fleeting. In the past, it would be fleeting for me. Anyways, like I'm not sure how it might be for other people, but that's just my experience around, joy versus happiness and how that relates to intention and manifesting.
Yeah, it's the thought behind the thought. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying though. Like the fleetingness. I remember like this is years ago. There was a period of time in my life where I was like on this like emotional high, but it was a roller coaster because it was like super duper excited and like life's amazing and just like, oh my God, this like elated kind of feeling. And then the next day I'd be like just crushed. And the day after that, I'd be like on cloud 9 again and be like, oh my God, life's amazing.
Wow.
And I remember that like, it was just such it was a roller coaster and I hated the whole thing. Even the times that I was like, quote unquote happy, I was still like, I was always fearful of the next time that I'd be crushed again. And that's the thing with like, I mean, we can define happiness in different ways, right? Like it doesn't have to be that way. But for me, it was absolutely that like at the end of the day, I realized and like through that entire process that like, I don't even care. I don't even care that I'm happy or not. Like I just want deep eternal peace. I want like this peace underneath it all. And when I started focusing on that and I wanted that, not like the super high, I didn't chase that anymore. All I wanted was just like a baseline, like just chill. I just want to be happy. I just want to have joy. That's when like everything was chill. Like I can't say that I like experienced those highs anymore. No, that's not true. I can, but there's like a detachment to it. It's like, because underneath I'm just like, everything's cool. Everything's chill. I love life. I love, the things that we have, the friends that we have, the people in our lives, like the things that actually have meaning. Like I genuinely love those things. And I don't, if I ever have a Ferrari one day, well, great. If I don't have a Ferrari one day, well, that's okay too. There's not that like need anymore. There was like this like silly need underneath it. And I think, so much of it was just chasing the wrong things.
Too, like when you have those needs for external things, that's when you get like this emotional roller coaster that you're talking about.
Oh God, yeah,
but
sure.
when you have a need to connect with your soul or be with your soul, that's different.
It is.
Like that's where the joy lies. It's not in external things. Like, yeah, I love shopping. I love things. I do. I like nice things.
I like gadgets.
I like material things. I do. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend that I don't, because we all do. But there's a different sense and feeling behind meeting your spiritual needs and internal needs versus the external.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think when you go for external needs being met before internal spiritual needs, whether it might not even be a thing, it might be acceptance or approval of others. That's an external need. Being loved by someone else, that's an external need. When you're focusing on obtaining those external needs, that's when you kind of can get trapped in this roller coaster of emotions that one day you're super high and super happy and the next you're
so
not.
Much.
Because
it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, because you're putting your happiness on something that you can't control, on something external from you, when if you focus on internal happiness, internal joy, your inner world, your soul, connecting with your soul, that's just totally different.
Yeah.
You can't even compare.
Of course.
The joy that you feel when when you connect inward.
Yeah. Now, here's a concept that I think we have to cover, though, is because I know I struggled with this when I was younger. It was like I had this idea that, if I started embodying these principles that I was learning, these principles of, spirituality and, being grounded and all these things, that I would have to sacrifice all those external things. It was
like, what external things did you think you had to sacrifice?
Well, everything, like you
couldn't drink wine.
you couldn't drink wine. You couldn't swear. You couldn't have a nice car. You couldn't have the nice things. Because and that's actually something that I struggled with for quite a while. It's like, well, in order to be spiritual, in order to have that depth, I had to give up on all the things, all the stuff, all the material world, because I think there's this prevailing kind of perception that goes around and people accept. I certainly did, and I know many people do, that being spiritual means martyrdom. For those people that understand that word, it's like giving up yourself, giving up the things that you want in order to be something bigger, But the thing is that it's not like that at all. And that was the biggest keys to me, transforming and embodying these things. Because for every time that I thought I had to sacrifice something, I didn't. For every time that I thought I was going to have to, give up a bunch of money, that I had to be poor, all these things, it was the exact opposite. So that whole idea is completely wrong. And now I understand. And I now when I read the same spiritual teachings that I read before, it makes sense. It's all in there. But, I don't know, somehow in society, we have this idea that that's the way it is. Because look at all the people that have been uplifting the world, like Eckhart Tolle. Mm-hmm. That guy's rich. Does he care? No. Look at Wayne Dyer. Rest in peace.
Oprah, Deepak. Yeah, a lot of them. I never really had that same.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
I think a lot of people do. I think it's also an ego thing too. Mm-hmm. Because I think the ego thing is this underlying belief that says, I can't help other people if I'm well off because then I'm selfish.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think it comes down to that societal programming of what prevents people from making money, beliefs around the filthy rich or
totally.
They got rich by
greedy,
stealing other people's money, or all these negative connotations, right? That go along with having an abundant life. I look at it like a gas tank. How can you give if you don't have?
Absolutely.
Because I always this comes from my lessons around self-love, whereas I couldn't give love if I didn't have self-love. So it was my gas tank for self-love at a certain point in my life was empty. So how could I give love or accept love if my own tank was empty, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing.
It is the same thing.
Abundance.
It is the same thing. Now I understand that yes, right now, we're building this business, yes, I absolutely believe we're going to be successful, but it's only because that energy that's flowing into everything that we're doing, it's to serve something greater, a greater purpose. I know it sounds
Sounds a little airy-fairy, doesn't it?
It kind of does, but
but it's true.
But it's so true. I feel it. At the same time, as much as back in the day, I used to have these fears about having money. Now I know it's the exact opposite. It's the whole gas tank thing. Now I know if I have the resources in order to reach more people and touch more lives and uplift people, that's what I want. That's what I want. So yeah, bring on the money. Bring it on so we can, hit up more people. I'm down.
Inspire and uplift more people.
Totally. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what the world needs now. We don't need to suffer. That's what I want to talk about. This whole podcast, I want to make sure that people understand and finally begin to believe that we don't have to suffer, because we don't. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. There's definitely mixed ideas around that. You know, some people are like, you must suffer in order to move towards more love. And other people are of the mindset of, well, you can suffer in order to move towards more love, or you could just move towards more love. So there's definitely different ways of looking at it. And I think whatever you believe is true.
Yeah. You know, I mentioned that quote to you earlier today from Michael Beckwith. And he says, the pain pushes until the vision pulls. And I so believe that because, you know, for most of my life, up until, say, 5-6 years ago, it was the pain that was pushing me. You know, I was trying to run away and escape from being poor. You know, it was like pushing, then like I wanted to like escape my anxiety. So then I would actually like go through like all the spiritual stuff just to like get away from all the anxiety and like depression and everything that I was feeling, because I couldn't handle it anymore. You know, it was like this pushing because I just couldn't handle my life. Everything was falling apart, whatever. But then it changed. And all of a sudden, there was no need to, like, there's no pain pushing me anymore, but there's something totally different that's now pulling me. That vision is pulling me. And it's wild. Like the difference in energy that has like come into my life now is just mind-boggling. Like I'm so juiced. Like I get up every morning like ready to jump into my shoes because I'm like ready to take on the day.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I haven't had that. Like it was always something like someone's got a case of the Mondays.
Like every day.
Yeah,
Monday
totally.
to Friday.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was really good. I was always really good at like putting on a smiling face, but inside I was like dying.
It's so dramatic.
No, but I dealt with like a lot of
I get it.
depression and anxiety and stuff. Like you can smile all day long, but if
I think a lot of people who have anxiety and depression are like that.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like they don't let people know that they're depressed or
totally. It's like a bad thing to say. It's like a dirty word. It's like a shitty word. Nobody wants to hear that.
No one wants to be a downer.
No. Listen to that downer over there. Look at him.
It's true.
Yeah, but it's totally different now, and I'm so grateful for everything that I've had and experienced in my life because it's brought me to this point. So, I want to share these teachings more than anything. I want people to know that there's a better way.
Yeah, there's a better way. There's different ways than what you currently might be doing.
And not to say that
definitely, not to say that what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah, or that what we're doing is right.
Yeah.
If it resonates, great.
If not, then that's okay. You don't have to watch this. You don't have to listen to us. It's totally fine. We're just sharing what worked in our life. But I was going to say something about going through tough points in life, because you were talking about the suffering. What was the quote again?
The pain pushes until
the
vision pulls.
The vision pulls, right? And then just was thinking about, how we were talking about there's some people who believe that you have to go through suffering in order to transform, and then other people who don't necessarily believe that. For me personally, I went through like depression. I had to hit a point in my life where I was like super unhappy in order for me to actually take action in my life. But now I feel like I'm at a place where challenges do come up. It's not that like my life is perfect or I'm perfect and I can figure everything out and I'm golden, but challenges come up, but you get to a place where you approach it from a different perspective. Like now I have a state of joy within me that I didn't have before, and that is just there.
Yeah.
So even in times when I'm down, but I'm not even really down like I used to be, but it's just, I just look at challenges differently. Before I would look at challenges as like me against the universe. But now I look at challenges as like, okay, the universe wants me to learn something. Like I'm experiencing stress or anxiety or annoyance or being pissed off or whatever it is. But I know that's not my normal state. And I know that it's not the universe trying to take something out on me.
Yeah.
You know, like I know now that challenges are there to grow, for me to grow. You know, it's not like, oh my God, I have such bad luck. It's not like that at all. It's like, it's different. Yeah. Whereas before, so I think that's also, you know, when some people say, well, you can choose to struggle, you could choose not to, because it really is your perspective on it. Yeah. Because I've just seen how my perspective has changed through struggles in my life.
Totally. Now, I gotta jump in here, because as much as, you know, challenges and things come up, they do. It's life. They always will.
Yeah.
But
we're human.
It's totally different now though, because like the solutions are always presented there too. Like, it's not like back in the day, like when I would come into a problem or when I was like dealing with stuff, like I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. Like it was a struggle. It was a grind. And like, I really had to grind it out in order to get out of it. Like now I've learned that the more I let go and I trust the process, problem comes, solution comes like fairly quickly, and then off we go. And there's not that like that crazy struggle that I had before. You know, so that's the thing. You know, for every time you think you're going to need to struggle and you're going to have to go through pain, you don't.
No, you know, it reminds me of this lesson I learned from rock climbing, actually. This was a spiritual lesson that I learned from rock climbing. Believe it or not. I used to rock climb. And I remember there'd be so many times I'd be climbing and I'm stuck in this position on the rock, and it's just like, okay, either I'm going to fall, which I wouldn't get hurt because you're using a rope. But when you're in that state, your muscles are stressed, you're in pain, and you don't know where to put your leg or grab the next hold so you can keep climbing up the mountain. And I just remember every time, it was always like, I'd always say, everything I need is here. Like, I just need to like breathe and calm down. I just need to like get centered, and I would find like the next hold for my hand or my foot so then I could keep climbing. And it was like, it just was such a metaphor for struggles in life. Yeah. Because in life, it gets like that. You like tense up, like you physically, like your body gets all tense, your heart rate's going, pumping, and like you're sweating, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Yeah. And so I've learned that like anytime life gives you a challenge, but it also gives you the answer to the challenge. You just have to like calm down, know that you have everything that you need. Everything is always there for you. And then you can easily take the next step. That's the thing. But it's like when you take that time to like go in and calm yourself down and like go through some like lessons, whatever you need at the time. Like for me, it's meditation. You know, when I deal with something, I have to go into meditation because then the solution's always there. I can prolong it, like it could be like 10 years for me to like figure out the answer, or I can just take a day or two, go into meditation, you know, calm down, have some fun, relax, and the answer's there, and it's done like this. That's the beauty of this whole thing. That's the magic. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, do you think that's probably good for our first podcast? I think that's pretty good. And I mean, people have been listening to us ramble for a while. There. Yeah, I feel like my intro was... This is me judging myself and being insecure about the intro of my really crazy rambling story. It's great. Yeah. But I think we should shut her down. Anyways. On that note, we're just going to shut her down. So guys, we will be back with more podcasts, more spiritual as fuck podcasts. That's right. Exciting times for all of us ahead. I'm telling you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And let us know what you thought. Any comments, questions, feedback. I love you long time, peeps. And thanks for being here. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Bye. Bye. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Spirit Ninjas Spiritual as Fuck podcast. Make sure to tune in next time for more deep conversations to uplift, inspire, and blow your mind. Spiritual as fuck.